Who are you, sir?
I am Tawny Schefter. I'm 20 years old and I am the founder of ArmLabz.
And what is ArmLabz?
ArmLabz is the future of forearm strength and health. It's an industry that's so neglected that nobody trains their forearms, from bodybuilding, powerlifting, to sports. There's a literal term of a condition called golfer's elbow and tennis elbow because everyone gets these injuries from not having strong enough forearms to support these sports. Our mission is to make people not fail with their grip first.
Why did you specifically choose to focus on forearm strength? Why does it matter so much?
So initially I had a little wrist injury and I did what most people do, go to the gym and try to, take a dumbbell and do this or do this. And there was nothing great. It hasn't been improved on in hundreds of years. Everyone's seen those bars that, you hold it and you let go with one hand, grab it with the other hand, and they don't really work and you have to let go with your hand every time. I wanted something that you can isolate each arm independently and really work out both sides of your forearm and get a full workout. And I ended up coming up with the conclusion of the Forearm Roller 2.0.
Okay, and kind of piggybacking off the whole Forearm Roller 2.0 you mentioned, how did you create the idea behind the Forearm Roller 2.0? How did you get started and create, obviously, the product that we know and love today?
So it's really interesting because initially I had no idea how I wanted to do it. Everyone thinks oh yeah, I probably came up with this idea and had everything in my mind. No, I had an end goal. I wanted to be able to work out each hand independently, whether it's like this, and I found it a way to, if you're going downwards, to work out the bottom side of your forearm in this position. It's something very unique that helps rock climbing and a lot of other things. How did I come up with this idea? That was my end goal. From there, I worked backwards and I said, how is this possible? And I ended up finding a mechanism, worked with probably 5 different engineers just to get this result. And then from there, I had to go with a lot of people to actually 3D design them. And it just took a very long time to go from, I want this result, to having it on a computer where it kind of makes a little bit of sense. Then I went to one of my cousins and asked him to 3D print one from his 3D printer. And he actually made it, sent it down to me. And from there, I was hooked. It worked.
Okay. Sounds like you had a pretty good idea. Where do you get your start in business? Did you go to school for it, or where did you start with this whole entrepreneurship that you've got going on?
I've always liked business, but actually initially I was in high school and I dropped out because school wasn't really for me. So I can't credit, my business, sense or, the inventor in me from high school. Then I actually started funding the company, making the idea happen because I just thought of this idea. I didn't come into this with the goal, I want to make $1 million, I want to make it a business that makes a lot of money. I went in with the fact that I thought this was a great idea and it kept me up at nights. I had this thing that I knew people would love if they saw it, if they had it, if they used it. And now that people are using it and loving it, it's just so good. But I started it with that. And then I literally drove, DoorDash, drove Grubhub, drove all of these things just to fund it to get to the point where, where it is today.
Everyone knows it's not a smooth sailing. It's not just wake up, make a product, come up with an idea. What in your mind has been the biggest struggle of starting ArmLabz to creating the Forearm Roller 2.0 to bringing it where it is today?
Wow, I can rant for struggles for days. So initially, I'll go through a couple of the biggest struggles. I will say the biggest struggle was probably manufacturing. But to start getting it from an idea in my head to getting an engineer to actually be able to design it took 6 months in and of itself. It was a massive struggle, and I couldn't even express to you how tiring it is mentally, physically, to go to these people, these engineers, and have them try to make something and it doesn't do what you're trying to make it do, and they're trying to do it in a different way. And that was stage 1. Stage 2, once I had a physical product, was the biggest struggle out of everything was manufacturing. Manufacturing was a pain in the neck. Each Forearm Roller 2.0 has about 15 components in it, 15 separate parts. It's a really complicated product to build. And I had manufacturers laugh at me, tell me it's stupid, tell me there's no way they can manufacture it. It takes over 30 minutes to manufacture a single product. I would say it took me another 6 months to 8 months of reaching out to manufacturers every day, hours every day, going through it. And even the product at that point, when I thought it was ready to go, I wanted to manufacture it. It went through so many revisions, so many changes, so many things that minuscule things that no one will notice on, now because everything's done together, but it's a completely different product.
So we all know there's one more product besides the Forearm Roller 2.0 for us to focus on. So tell us a little bit about the Barbottle.
The Barbottle is a very interesting, actually. So how I came up with the Barbottle is 2 things. One, it's a cool bottle. Everyone uses it for, their gym, and people who want to support the company like getting the Barbottle because it's, a bottle they could drink from. It's a cool gym bottle. But beyond that, I actually bought a forearm roller, the classic ones that are out there where you have to let go with your hands and they don't really work. And then they don't have weights. And I'm like, what am I supposed to do now? I have to go to the gym with this thing, and I could have just probably done something there. I bought this so I could use it at home. I actually went out and I filled up a bag with rocks to mimic weight, and I put it on my scale and then had to find a way to connect it. What I did with this Barbottle is I'm selling a bottle that, I'm not even selling it, it's a combo, they go together. You could fill up the bottle with any amount of weight from 1 pound to 5 pounds. If you fill it up to the tippy top, you get a little more, like 5.5 pounds. But really, when you're isolating one forearm at a time, which is what this product allows you to do perfectly, 5 pounds in a workout, like doing, a set or two, there is no one who's not going to struggle with that. There are people, we have some very big people in different sports who are using it, who can clip on a lot more weight. And we made a very nice mechanism to clip it on so you don't have the current model of having to attach it onto the strap or find some plate or something. It's much more, you just clip it onto the thing to itself. There's a little belt loop on there that we added as well. Add on the Barbottle or anything else you want to add on, but it makes it so easy for the average person to work out at home.
That's awesome. That's really cool. You've put a lot of thought into all this. I can clearly tell. Is ArmLabz the only thing you do?
So I also do work, like I said, I was doing Uber Eats and DoorDash and Grubhub. Then after that, I started working at a swim school, just to cover more expenses. What I compare ArmLabz to is like a baby, but instead of crying, it just eats money. But yeah, so I do that. I fund this, and this is what I'm, right now, luckily orders are coming in. People are loving the product. So this is more my focus now, but
How do you deal with the hustle? How do you deal with the constant busyness, the balance of all the challenges that come with both running a business and working a day like a 9-to-5 job?
The way I would put it is when you have a mission in mind and a goal and kind of what you feel like you were put on this earth for, sleep is irrelevant. It's optional. It is hard though, because when you want to just be relaxing, laying in your bed, doing nothing. And when I get home after working the 9-to-5, I end up working from 5 to 8 p.m., on ArmLabz, early mornings to try to get stuff done. In my lunch breaks, messaging creators and stuff to try to work with us and other things. It takes a lot of time. And the way I would say it is, if you're not passionate about it and if you don't really love what you're doing and you don't think that this is, if I didn't believe that the Forearm Roller 2.0 ArmLabz was the future, I wouldn't be doing this. It's passion.
Now that you're kind of getting some orders flowing in, what kind of feedback have you gotten from your customers, and what does that mean to you?
So far, all the feedback has been fantastic. It's so interesting saying something that I spent 3 years on, building since I was 17 years old, that now physical therapists, we have a guy who's an arm lifter who's #1 ranked in North America coming and saying that this product is fantastic and it's something that it's so it feels so simple, feels so natural to use. Why hasn't it been done before? This is the feedback I'm hearing. And I actually got an email recently from a customer who was like, wow, people who are using it and really giving testimonials. It's fantastic, and it's very nice to see.
Was there an aha moment where you kind of realized that ArmLabz, this is real, it's making an impact, something is happening here?
Definitely, I would attribute that to, like I said, working with these creators and some of our feedback of the clients, of people who, I had a physical therapist who has been in the arm space for 10 years now. And he tried my product and he was just like, wow, I actually gave him one and he's using it with his clients. And he's saying that it's working fantastically. And it's just so nice to hear that it's making a positive impact in not just the strength world, it's also doing it in the rehab world. And again, using it without a physical therapist, use at your own risk. But the fact that a physical therapist is using it and helping people it's huge.
Let's focus a little on the future. What are you looking to do with ArmLabz? What's your goal for ArmLabz?
My goal is that ArmLabz is the hub for forearm strength and health. I right now have the Forearm Roller 2.0 and the Barbottle, but I plan on having, more products that are in this world, having improved products, and I want this to be a community, not just a company. I really want people to be interactive and share their progress with it, and I want this to be the place for a forum.
Who has been the biggest help to you on this journey of bringing ArmLabz to where it is?
There's a couple people who I have in mind. But initially, I spent 3 years on this. Initially, I would say the first 2.5 years or so, 2 years, has been my dad. He's, very supportive, very helpful. And when I have questions, it's definitely easy to run things off of him, and he'll be able to help me out a little bit. And then in the last 6 months or so, I had, I reached out to my cousin. My cousin was able to actually join and help me reach out to creators, make videos with me. His name is Chaim / James, you've probably seen him on our Instagram or on our, YouTube. He's been a massive help. And yeah, other people who have helped have been, the people who have pre-ordered, who bought, our supporters, people who really like the product have been all, attributing to the fact that we're moving forward.
And, looking back kind of as advice to future entrepreneurs and people looking to grow a business, what's one step that you weren't sure about taking that you ended up taking, and looking back, you realize is much more crucial than you initially thought it would be?
So that step would be the first step. Because like I said, when I was 17 years old, starting this business, I knew nothing. I was a high school dropout. I knew nothing about business, nothing about inventing, nothing about product, nothing even about the forum industry. I literally knew nothing, and nothing about building websites, But then I took a first step. And after I took that first step and I started getting the samples and I started really using the product and making progress, it just drives you to see that progress and see things going in the right direction. And I think that more people who are, interested in starting an idea should just start, and they'll end up making it. That's it.
If people want to get involved in this journey, how can people help you along the way and support you at ArmLabz?
So the best way to get involved in our journey is follow us on our socials. You'll see us posting content incorporating the Forearm Roller 2.0 and the Barbottle. Definitely check out our website. We have a fun quiz there, the animal quiz. Check it out. You can also read our blogs. Also order, the Forearm Roller 2.0, Barbottle. They're both good individually or as a combo. But yeah, just stay involved and stay with us.
Alrighty. This was great. It's great to meet you. Chaim Friedman, by the way, his cousin, behind the camera.